Good afternoon, everyone. This is Julie Zindel with Central Data. Thank you so much for joining us today on our webinar. Today, our topic is going to be Starship for info distribution. We have some guest presenters today. We have Ken Mostello and Tammy Mahoney from Expertech and Simon Volta from V Technologies. And each one will be presenting a different portion of the session today. We are doing a recording of this session, so we will send it out following. If there are any questions, please put them into the questions section or into the chat, and we will answer questions at the end of the presentation. With that, Ken, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Julie. Good afternoon, everyone. I have the easy part of this presentation. It's a very short PowerPoint. And then I'm going to hand off to Tammy, and she'll take you through the integration side of the product. And we also have Simon here, who will take you on a little bit of a deeper probe into what Starship is all about. But thanks for joining today. And why don't we get started? So let me start by introducing Expertech and what we are. And Expertech is a company that is similar to Central Data. We are an Infor partner, much as they are. And we have been working with the SXE product line going way back since the late 90s. And our business for our entire lifetime, which has been since 1992, 30 years now, has been providing IT solutions for distributors. That is what we do. That's all we do. Okay. And with the SXE and CSD, now CSD product line, that's a 24-year history, long time. One of the things that probably makes us a little different from some of the other Infor partners is that we were very early into building out what we like to refer to as the Infor ecosystem, which is integrations and solutions to build out what's available with the Infor Cloud Suite product. Infor doesn't offer everything that people need, so they looked for companies like CDS, for companies like Expertech, to build out and integrate with other products that have a need in the community. And that's really one of the things that we do. So along that line, we offer today solutions in 5 different areas. We offer some sales productivity tools, which CDS does sell on our behalf. We also have an integration to some e-commerce products. We're looking at shipping and logistics today, which is Starship. And we recently introduced an integration into some service and warranty software like Service Bench and Service Power. All of our integrations are built on top of our Workbench, which in turn communicates back and forth with Cloud Suite. Now, I am using Cloud Suite here as the moniker for Infor's SXE and now Cloud Suite system. So just to point out, we have been working with the SXE product now going back since 1997. So whatever I say for Cloud Suite really applies also to SXE, unless I say otherwise. We still support and we still offer the integration going all the way back to release 6.190. So long history with the SXE product line. Okay, so in brief, let me just explain the relationships here. The Starship product, which you're going to see today, was developed by a company called V Technologies. They're represented here on this call. That's Simon Volta, who works in sales at VTech, and he is going to be the spokesman here for their organization. Their product today is offered both as a web and a graphical user interface product. So both are offered and available. Today, we're overwhelmingly doing the web user interface product, but if you're on an older graphical product, the equivalent is still available for Starship as well. Both products function essentially the same way. Uh, Starship is offered as both a cloud and an on-premise solution. Needless to say, like most of the software companies today, they lead with their cloud product. So do we. We offer the integration as a cloud deployment as well. So I'll leave you with the tagline there on this slide at the bottom, industrial strength shipping for in-for distribution. It is a industrial strength product, and I think you'll see some of that today. This product is really built for mid-market companies, such as many of you are, and really I think you'll see it checks the boxes on just about nearly everything that a distributor needs to have to do shipping. Okay. So what does it do? First of all, our integration, and I will say, I think is a standout from the standpoint that, I mean, we are an Infor partner and we're a full service operation. We do the technical work, the implementations, sell the product, and we've been doing that for a long time. So when we built an integration here, we really build it to Infor's standards. We build it to be flexible. And in the case of Cloud Suite, it's all based on extensions and communication with Infor's Ion product. So we basically do it to their standards. And we're going to offer an integration experience that you're probably not going to see anywhere else, because one of the things that we believe is, when you're doing shipping in Cloud Suite, it should look like Cloud Suite. And all the data that is required for shipping, we maintain in Cloud Suite screens. We'll show you some of that in a minute. We keep it in a separate database, and then we draw on that database to feed to Starship when that data is required. So, a very tight integration, seamless to your users. It looks just like it's all part of Cloud Suite. Now, more specifically, we have done a lot to enhance the speed of the shipping, because everyone wants fast shipping. I've always heard that as probably the most important requirement. Well, we have fast shipping. This integration is multi-threaded. It's designed to drive shipping as fast as is possible with the technology that Infor offers. We have built out an order entry rate shopper, so you can do rate shopping for shipping in order entry, as well as actually in the Starship product itself. And we've built out some other features that people want to have, like warehouse transfer support for direct order warehouse transfers. And we have support today for the TWL warehouse system, and we'll soon have support for Infor's WMS product as well. And as I said before, we support every Starship, every SXE version going back to 6190. Okay. One of the things that's really appealing about Starship is the breadth of the carriers that they support. I mean, this is a handful of them, but they have support for literally dozens and dozens of these. Most of them are directly supported. Some are also supported through consolidators that they work with. But this will give you at least a preliminary idea of some of the ones that they support. The product itself has a lot of really nice functionality. For example, they have a full rules engine for doing pricing and accessorial charges. So you can really get very granular about how you charge for your shipping. And you should, because shipping done right should be a profit center in distribution. There's support for some 3PLs. They do have some really cool things like dashboards and analytics built into the product. And then they have a lot of the features that we get asked for all the time, like third-party billing, blind shipment, hazmat support. And you can also edit the documents that it produces, the paperwork that goes out for shipping. So that's just some of the features that are built into the Starship product. So, I'll summarize here by saying I think what you're going to see today is probably the best mid-market solution that's available for shipping in the distribution world. We do, again, support lots and lots of carriers. There's support for both parcel and LTL freight shipments, so we do that. And again, I think the integration experience, you won't see one that's better or tighter or easier to work with. And I think we, do all have all that functionality that people are typically needing when they ship in distribution. So with that, I am going to hand over to Tammy. But maybe before I do, I think, Julie, the plan was we're going to take questions near the end. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, yes, I think we'll do a Q&A at the end.
Okay. All right. So with that, I will hand off to you, Tammy.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Before we go over and actually take a look at Starship, we always like to start on the Cloud Suite side and just give you a little bit of information on what we've done to integrate with Starship. Ken mentioned that we have worked really hard to integrate the information that we've, the expanded information into the Cloud Suite maintenance screen. So I'm going to start with customer here. So when your salespeople are placing orders, there is usually some information that's customer specific that's real important for the shipment that you would want to make Starship aware of. So we've added some information here. You can see, right, as Ken mentioned, very tightly integrated right into the, this is actually the general tab. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with Cloud Suite specifically, so I'll just kind of point that out. So we have added some fields here that pertain to your customer that are important for shipping. I'll point out the freight rules code. Ken mentioned the Starship has a freight rules feature that is very robust and flexible and allows you to implement your various business rules for how you would want to calculate freight on a number of different levels. So we're supporting that here. And also mention the customer information also expands out to your ship tos. Same fields are on the ship to as well. So for your product information, we've integrated some information that's important for your LTL shipping and on the warehouse product, some from the international fields here. So I'm going to flip the order and I'm going to show you order inquiry here. So this is kind of a look of after post ship. So in this scenario, we have already shipped our order in Starship. This gives you an idea of what sort of information comes back to Cloud Suite from Starship. So you can see this is the package information. You have all your, this is a 3-package shipment, obviously. You have all your tracking numbers here, the ship vias here, the freight amount, the date. So your customer service representative doesn't have to go anywhere else. They just come right to order inquiry and they can see what packages shipped. They can supply the tracking numbers to the customer if they are looking for them. And on the order header, we have the same view into the extended fields that I showed you on the customer a minute ago, right on the general screen here. This is an example of a consolidated shipment. These 2 orders were shipped together. And so in order entry, here is the equivalent of the order header. This is the customer order settings. And so you can see, again, the freight billing account right there. The other information from your customer setup translates right into your order for you. If you need to make changes, you're able to do that here also. And before we go and actually take a look at Starship itself, I want to give you a quick view into our order entry rate shopper that Ken mentioned. So right here in order entry, you're building your order. When you're ready to quote the freight, you're just going to come over and execute your freight rate shop. And our engine goes out and talks to Starship's engine, brings back the rates. This is really talking to your installation of Starship. So your account numbers will have been set up in Starship. So we're getting the information that pertains to your specific account. So we have the rates for all these UPS services here that we can choose from. We can just pick one and select it. And that's our rate quote to our customer. So moving over onto the Starship side. So this is Starship's web client. We're going to do similar to what we would do in the GUI client for those of you who are using Starship already. We're going to scan our pick ticket, order number, or we could have a carton number. One of the nice features of our new integration is that we have different templates that we can place. Normally we wouldn't have carton and order together, but we can scan orders or we can scan carton numbers. I'm going to scan order number. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of give you a quick view into how this works. We're simulating that we have a package on the scale, and I'm just going to go ahead and ship that. Just to give you an idea of how kind of streamlined that is. And now let us go back in and take a little bit of a longer look. All right, so I just scanned another pick ticket, different order number. This one happens to be a COD. I just wanted to provide a view here into some of the features that we are integrated with Starship. So we know our order is a COD, our base amount returned. It's also adding our freight amount. Again, simulating that you already have placed your package on the scale. Starship went out to UPS and brought back the rates for this shipment while we were talking, really. So the freight amount has been included in this pickup amount for your COD order. You can see that the recipient's information is, populates for us automatically. We have our email address here, so that can turn on another one of Starship's features, which is to interact with the carrier's email notification. And I will also mention that Starship has its own email templating feature, which allows you to create your own email templates, branding, design them any way you would like. That's a really nice feature if you want something a little fancier than just the carriers and just accepting UPS's email. We know what our order is worth, so we have our declared value. And I will give you just a little bit of a view here into how the rate shopping works here in Starship. You're going to just click that run button, and it's pretty much the same, mechanically, the same operation. Starship went out to UPS and brought back all these rates for us. We could choose a different one if we want, and it automatically will be stamped onto our order. When we ship this, this is the freight amount that we'll see in Cloud Suite. They'll be invoicing our customer. See what features. I'll mention that Starship has an address validation feature. We've incorporated that also into Cloud Suite if you're interested in using that in Cloud Suite and having your address, the addresses validated in some of the various screens that have addresses, your customer maintenance, etc. And I think at this point, I'm just going to turn over to Simon for a little bit of a deeper.
Before you go, there's a couple of specific Starship with SXE and Cloud Suite questions. So I'm going to tell you those first, and then we can pass it. From Kayana,
Okay.
she wants to know, how do you use the rate shopping function in order entry?
Hey, Kayana, how are you? So in terms of using it, it's pretty straightforward. Right here in order entry, you're just gonna, it needs to be set up, of course, for you. You're gonna go to taxes and totals. There's a freight rate shop button. We're executing that. When you get your rates and you wanna, choose one, you're just gonna check it, and then you're gonna click select. And that's a new feature for me, so we're just gonna click OK there. And that adds the freight to your add-on, and you'll see that on your invoice and in the order inquiry in your totals. Was that what you were looking to answer your question?
Does that function work on quotes as well?
Yes, it should work on quotes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's a separate license for that, right? To have rate shopping?
It's an add-on option.
An add-on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. From Amy, she said, I am in SX Cloud and currently integrate with Starship, but I do not see the customer setup in the Starship freight section on the general tab. Do I have to update something to get this?
Amy, I'm not sure which client you're working with, or which client which account you are, but I mean, yes, if you're not already set up with our extended integration, then we would do that in your cloud tenant usually.
Right. Yeah, you would need the extension set that gets installed typically when we do a Starship implementation.
Okay, so I can send you information from Amy, Tammy, so that you two can work together on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions before we move forward? Alex is asking, are there any features available in the Starship GUI that are not available in the web UI?
Okay.
Hey, Alex.
You want me to take that one, Tammy?
Yes, please.
Sure. So the GUI one, the desktop client that you're referring to, the web client that we're showing here today is the latest and greatest, where all the latest features are being put into the product. The desktop client itself does not have certain features that the web client will have. So we're trying to put all of the resources into the web client, especially on the SaaS environment, making sure that those are running up, seamlessly and as fast as they can. But the desktop, there are plans to potentially, sunset the legacy application, the client itself, probably in a few years' time, right? So we're trying to make sure that the web client is fully operational.
Okay, I don't see any other questions, so we can go over to Simon next.
Yeah, I'll just add into that just before Simon takes over that we have yet to find a situation where, we can't accommodate a client on the web version with the same feature set that exists in the GUI version. I mean, they're pretty close to their equivalent.
Yeah, and I guess I'll tag along on that one is, just to clarify, so the web client runs both on-premise and SaaS, right? So it's the same UI. So just to make it clear, on-prem is not going away at all. It's more the actual client, the UI itself will be eventually sunset, but the web client itself is here to stay, both on both products.
Okay.
All right, I think you need to give me access, Tammy or Julie. There we go.
Yep, let me do that.
Hold on. One second. Okay, you can see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. All right, so I'm just gonna take a few minutes here just to review kind of, I know Tammy went through there on a parcel side of the house. So for those of you shipping LTL, I'm gonna take you kind of just really quick around an LTL workflow in Starship. A lot of users, you know, they're using SX or Cloud Suite will most likely have a need for LTL in their shipping environment. So Starship being that multi-carrier application, I'm just going to walk you through how we process a simple bill of lading, and then I'll just take you through some value-added tools that you'll also have part of Starship's application here as well, so you can see what those look like. So first and foremost, when you bring in an LTL order, it's really the same as bringing in a parcel order. It's just you're going to bring it in via shipping via an LTL carrier, or best way. A lot of LTL shippers will do it as well. And wanting a rate shop, especially if you have a lot of LTL carriers that you might have negotiated rates for. So again, however you're going to do it is really up to you as an individual user. But really, when you bring in the shipment from the Cloud Suite application, everything is relatively the same that Tammy just went through a moment ago here with sender and recipient information. Address validation is also available for LTL shipping as well as domestic or parcel shipping.
Hey, Simon, if I could interrupt, we extend that address validation now into Cloud Suite as well.
Perfect, awesome. So, so you have it on both fronts now, right? Which is even better, right? So, so as long as all that is there, you're good to go. On the LTL front, one thing that you will receive that you don't get on the parcel side of the house is something called tendering. So that's really for us to dispatch the carrier out to you for pickup purposes. We always have it defaulted to electronic for your carriers that offer that through their API. And all that simply means is that when I hit ship and process and generate my bill of lading, I'm also passing through the API when the shipment is actually ready, when do you close that particular day, the date of shipment, as well as all the weights and dimensions of your pallets, which is important for, you know, how many trucks may need to show up for that particular day. You also have something where you can set it to call or even a daily pickup if you wanted to. I recommend call option really late in the afternoon, just to make sure that the carrier can make that pickup in that given day if needed. One of the things up here, you'll see the ready date. You always have the option of future dating your pallets, which we do have shippers who do that today. So if you need to, you know, start getting pallets ready for tomorrow, you can definitely set that date accordingly. And there's your ready time and your close time as well by location. The bill of lading number is a reference number. It's all it is. Either you can set one for yourself, we can generate one for you. The pro number is the trackable number that is returned in most cases through the API back to us from the carrier themselves to put onto the bill of lading, which then we get back in the Cloud Suite. If we don't have that coming back through the API from the carrier, we can set up various algorithms based on scat code to potentially generate one for you. Some shippers will decide to use a book of pros and scan that pro into this field here as well, and they have a reference back in CSD immediately if they wanted to. So you have some options here from the LTL side of the house when it comes to tracking, but really we just kind of try to streamline it as best as we can. This section here I'll highlight real quick is just all your accessorial options. As we know, accessorials play a big part in LTL shipping. So things like lift gates, limited access, freezable, sort and seg, all of these options are here for you to check off. But as Tammy may have mentioned, right, we can bring in and map in certain fields from the CSD side to have these auto-enabled for you, so you don't have to remember to come in and check a box. We also have conditions that can be potentially set for you based on customer. So things like a lift gate, for instance, can be maybe auto-selected based on customer preference. So just real quick on that is just making sure that these boxes are selected. This gets put into the API call so the carrier knows what's to be quoted, but also more importantly, if there's a lift gate, to make sure that we have the right equipment on the delivery side to make that happen in a timely fashion. You'll then see your packing elements where you'll have pallets and boxes all built out here for you. You can ship things mixed, meaning I can have some cartons, I can have loose items, I can have all loose items being shipped LTL. You don't need a pallet necessarily, or all things boxed right onto pallets. So just like a packaging database that's built in, we also have a pallet database where you can store various pallet sizes that you might be using. So you don't need to type in those, individually each time. And then over here, you basically will have your rate shop, as Tammy has already shown you, right? Kind of what that looks like. One thing I'll point out is that the rate shop feature here will show you a mixed bag of services and options available. So meaning not only LTL carrier options, but also parcel options included, if applicable. So if the shipment is under 150 pounds a box, we will show you, just like in this example here, you'll see UPS Ground is actually kind of my cheapest parcel option, whereas compared to R&L is way down in the middle. So if I wanted to, I can save myself a little bit of money just shifting it back to parcel in this case and going with UPS as my carrier for this shipment. And it's a simple checkbox to switch it back. So that's kind of just the LTL workflow. I wanted to highlight here real quick. I'll kind of give you a very quick glimpse of what the bill of lading would look like in this case. But if everyone's shipped LTL, they'll kind of have an idea as well. But in this case here, you'll see that we have a simple bill of lading that's generated. Some of the carriers will return their images back through the API as well, in this case like R&L does. So you'll see here the pro number auto is generated by them. And then all the other information, the ship from, ship to, all the lines, the commodities being shipped with their NMFCs or group numbers associated will all be part of the bill of lading itself. For those of you ship and collect, where you may not need a carrier engine per se, we do have a module called the bill of lading module, which allows you to just simply print a straight bill of lading that we produce with all the same information, right? So the pro number, carrier of choice, this is the document that will print for you, essentially in this case, but really all the same information. Okay, so I'm going to take you real quick through here. I'm going to take you real quick through the dashboard because these are some of the value-added tools that Starship does offer to you as a customer, where we can basically kind of bring some extra value into the environment. So a lot of you may go to the carrier reps and ask for information and reports and charts and information that you don't have easily at your fingertips. Coming from the carrier background myself, that was probably one of the least favorite things to do, just because it's very time consuming for a carrier rep to combine all that information and provide that to a customer. So the shipping application has a very nice dashboard where it gives you a lot of information at your fingertips at any point in time. So here you'll have things like a distribution map or a heat map, we like to refer to it as. It's just simply showing you all your distribution points across the country. The red dots that you see here are my hot zones. My grays, I'm sort of fading. Greens, I'm sort of gaining momentum in. But everywhere else, I'm not shipping product to. So that could be kind of eye-opening to a lot of you, where you may tag your sales and marketing folks to figure out strategies of how do we tap into new markets, expansion plans, how do we get to our customer base faster, or maybe even negotiation tactics with the carriers. Because a carrier rep may come in and offer you a great discount to, say, Arizona. You may not ship anything to Arizona. You may want to target your tri-state area in New York, or in the, it looks like the Georgia area here, right? Maybe sharpening the pencil to those specific lanes, because that's where a lot of your shipments are, being directed to. Any one of these graphs or charts you can drill into and show and add filters. So if you want to see maybe a specific carrier, you can add a carrier into here and see those shipping lanes you might ship for UPS or FedEx or R&L or any of your LTL carriers you might be shipping with. So again, any of these work the same. You also have the charts here. All of these charts are available to you out of the box. So there's no customizations or anything like that we need to worry about with the charts. They all look the same way. Again, you can change date ranges if you want very easily and get real-time information on the fly to see how your trends look like. In this case, I'm looking at my package counts here. So you can see my package counts over the last month or 3 months really. are trending downward, which you never want to see, obviously. You may have an explanation for it, but you want to see that trend really increasing, especially as we approach holiday season here from a package count. And this is like your LTL shipments. You have things like costs you can look at. So there's a lot of variety from a high level overview that you have right here in the dashboard. With the dashboard, you'll actually get better reports all drilled into here following those charts. So if you want to drill in a little bit deeper, here's where you can dig into like address correction reports. We have parcel detail reports, freight shipment detail reports, international reports, you name it, they're all in here essentially for you to look up at any point in time. Again, very easy to load. So if you want to just come in here, again, pick your date range, hit apply, show the report, you can get something that looks very clean and very easy to look at. So we'll always break it down by carrier in this example, by customer secondary, and then in this case, we're looking at those contracted rates versus applied to really show you, in this case, how much you either lost or gained potentially in a shipment. So you can maybe modify those freight rules that Tammy mentioned a moment ago as well. So again, you have access to all of this to run at any point in time that you need. I should make mention that the reports, you can download these in PDF or Excel for your needs, for meetings you may have, whatever it is. So they can be definitely downloaded for you. Lastly, for me, I will leave you with is our notification emails that, again, Tammy mentioned a moment ago that you can set up. So we have something called e-Notify that's built in to Starship. Basically, again, it comes with your licensing, but basically you have the ability here to setting up however you want. So just see if I can give you an idea what one looks like here. Let's see if I have a better one than that. This one. There we go. So you basically can make it look and feel however you want, right? So we don't restrict you in any sort of way. Here you'll basically have your, you can put your order number, thank the customer for their order, put the PO number if you like, sales order number, really any field you want into this email. And then basically maybe even the carrier that you shipped it with. In this case, it went out UPS. How many packages were consisted of the shipment, when to expect delivery by. Also maybe insert a table like I have here with the tracking number for the shipment, which by the way is a hyperlink. They can click on it when they receive it. It'll take them directly out to the UPS website for them to track their own orders. They don't need to contact you consistently to play UPS tracking representatives. And then also what was consisted in that type of shipment as well, so they're aware of that, especially if there's any back order situation or any of that happening, that will also come into play. And then also maybe use it for any marketing. Here you can see I have a coupon code. Come back to my website, come back for a future phone order, receive 20% off, whatever it is. But again, we really leave this up to you, whatever information you want to provide to your customer, so they have everything at their fingertips as well. These can be sent out in real time, or you can send them out at the end of the day in a batch. We prefer that option. We recommend that option to all of our customers, just because we don't know if the carrier is actually going to show up to make a pickup on time. And you don't want to have a fire drill in your hands tomorrow morning answering questions to why orders didn't ship. So you have the ability of always turning off specific emails for a carrier in case if you're leaving and UPS hasn't shown up, you can turn their emails off and nobody will get notified. So with that being said, I am going to pause there and turn it back to Julie if there's any questions that's come in for us.
Okay, thank you, Simon. I don't see any new questions. I'll give it just a minute to make sure. People may still be typing, but I don't think we have anything new. All right, so I guess I could pose a question for those on the call who have your Starship on premise. There is a new availability to do Starship in a different cloud hosted environment. Yep. Is that something you would like to talk about, Simon or Ken? Is there any information you'd like to provide there?
Well, Yeah, I'm happy to. First of all, for most of those who are on premise, they're probably using the older graphical user interface product. The cloud product now is is web enabled. I think it's easier to deploy because it has a very light footprint, a lot lighter than what we had in the past. The days of installing Starship on local shipping stations is pretty much a thing of the past. So it's also, I will say this, very easy to deploy in a multi-location environment, again, because you don't have this big local footprint. But beyond that, what I also will say is that the pricing on Starship for the cloud is all volume based. That can really work well for some companies. One of the complaints that I used to get is we would run into accounts where they had maybe 25 locations with one shipping station at each location, and they felt it was expensive to deploy and expensive to buy with that kind of configuration. The good news is with the cloud deployment, the pricing is almost entirely volume based. So if you're just shipping out a handful of packages at a lot of locations, it actually is not a very expensive investment. So I think that's valuable. But also, the product just continues to really improve on the graphical side. Now, you do need to run well, actually, I'm going to defer to you, Tammy, on this question. Can you run the web product on the older versions of SXE, or do you need to be on version 11 to run the web version?
Starship's web client is available for, Simon could say what the cutoff, but for probably going back to most of our Starship clients that are running the GUI desktop could probably migrate over to the Starship web.
Okay.
We have a new integration platform.
Yes.
That runs through extensions in the 11 web. So you would still be on the same integration platform that you're running now if you're not running Cloud Suite, the web-based Cloud Suite. But the Starship web client is, Simon, how far back does that go? 18 anyway, right? Starship.
The web, yeah,
18? Correct.
Yep.
So most people are probably gonna, I hope everyone has migrated to a version higher than that of Starship.
Correct.
Okay.
So if anyone on the call has any questions about Starship Cloud, we could set up a separate meeting and talk to you about it individually too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's I will say this too, the product is fast in the cloud, which, initially, frankly, I was a little concerned about because you just don't know. But, we've deployed a number of them at this point, and they are, it performs beautifully.
All right, so we do have one question about the hosted version. Alex is asking if it's true multi-tenant SaaS.
Yes, the Starship in the cloud is true multi-tenant SaaS.
Okay, so, and then the follow-up to that is, if yes, is there a way for us to bring in custom values from CSD and use them in Starship?
Our integration has a lot of built-in flexibility, and I'll defer to Simon on the specifics about what they can accept. But for us, we actually just worked with a client this week that needed some additional attributes added, which we took care of for them. But I'll defer to you, Simon, on the Starship side of that.
Yeah, I mean, so we can definitely, so just like the on-premise version that you may be running, it has the same functionality where we have, specific, UDEF fields that can accept additional information, right? As long as those are made available, right? from the CSD side, and we can bring that information or grab the information from Starship to CSD, then that would be absolutely fine. But that's probably a conversation we want to have a little deeper with you, just to figure out what that information is, just to make sure that's, you know, something that can be done for sure.
Okay, I will send you this question directly, and we can you can respond. He does provide an example where he has a user field in the header of the order that has tracking notification email from this user field. So it's a user-defined field is what he's trying to
Okay.
bring in. Okay, I'll send that over to them, and we can have a discussion with you on that, Alex, directly. Okay, very good. Any
All
other
right.
questions before we wrap up for the day? All right. Well,
Thank
let
you.
me thank you very much, Ken, Tammy, and Simon. This was very informative. Ken, did you have something else? I'm sorry, I talked over you.
No, I was just going to thank you for putting this together. And you know, we're happy to do these, and by all means, reach out with any questions that come up.
All right, will do. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you,
good
Julie.
day. Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You
See you now, folks.
Mhm.